Okay, so the very first thing that you should do for this one, sorry, this is 6.9, ready, set, go, number 5. So it says, based on the given trig ratio, sketch a triangle, find a possible value for the missing side, as well as the other missing trig ratios. Label angles A, B as two non-right angles in the triangle. Okay, so the very first thing that I want you to do is I just want you to draw a triangle. Hold on. Excuse me. And then I want you to um, label the triangle. Now, labeling the triangle doesn't make sense, but just draw me a triangle. Label him as A, B, C. Okay. Okay. Everybody okay with that? Any questions so far? Okay. All right. So I'm going to draw my triangle. And then I'm just drawing a generic triangle. It doesn't have to be right. Yours can look different. Yours could look more like, not so short, and maybe yours is a little bit taller. It's fine. So then I'm going to label A here and B here and C here. So when I label them, now everything that I write has to go in perspective of what I write. So when it says the tangent of A equals to 3/4, right? When tangent of A equals to 3/4, what should your brain be thinking? Well, I know what tangent is. What's tangent again? What's tangent? Good. It's opposite over adjacent. So some of you are thinking TOA, and you said tangent of A equals opposite over adjacent. So then that means this guy is my opposite side, and this guy is my adjacent side. Does everybody see that? Since the tangent of A equals to 3/4, then that means that the opposite angle the opposite side of A has to be 3, and the the adjacent side has to be 4. Is anybody lost on this? Is anybody lost on this? Everybody's okay with this? Okay. So then notice the next thing they ask you is, okay, can you find me tangent of B? Yes, exactly. So before we actually do that, someone said in the chat, so we're going to use that to figure out the hypotenuse. You can, but let's find tangent of B first. You told me that tangent of B is opposite over adjacent. So let's slow this down. Who's the opposite of the angle B? Who is the opposite of angle B? Perfect. So go ahead and fill out tangent of B and see if you're right. Go ahead and fill that out and see if you're right. Okay. What did you guys write? Ouch. Yep. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Very good. I'm waiting for a couple more people. Let's pretend that we're grading this again. Very good. Yes, yes, yes. No, this is homework. So we're in OneNote. So very good. Very good. Okay. So if you got that, give yourself, I'm going to pretend that this is a quiz. Okay. So if you got 4/3, give yourself plus 2 points. This is just, I'm pretending just so that you can see how well you're understanding this. If you understood it after and you understand why it's 4/3, give yourself 1 point. Now, earlier and on the video for this lesson, I showed you something and I wanted you to see a relationship. Does anybody see any relationships right now? Look at those two that they gave us. Does anybody see a relationship? Yeah, they switch, right? So it's like 3 over 4 and 4 over 3. Now, is this a coincidence? Is this a coincidence? Yeah, someone said they flipped it. There's a bunch of words that you guys can use here. Someone used the word opposite. I know what you mean, but I wouldn't use the word opposite just because in math, opposite means positive and negative, and I don't think that's what you mean, right? Okay, so does this make sense that these two would like flip like this? Does this make sense why they would flip? For me, it totally makes sense, right? Because if tangent is defined as opposite over adjacent, his opposite, it's 3 over 4. And then if you go for opposite of angle B, it's 4 over 3. It's 4 over 3. So this guy's opposite is this guy's adjacent. So to me, it totally makes sense. Okay, so the next thing they ask us to do is to find the sine and the cosine of A and B. So the only way you could do that is if I know the hypotenuse. And some of you are thinking, I don't know what the hypotenuse is, Ms. Johnson. So whenever you are sitting with a right triangle, there's right triangle tools that we have talked about. The two tools that we have for right triangles, and I'm going to say this over and over again, just so that it's in your brain, are the Pythagorean theorem and trig ratios. And if you don't know what trig ratios are, that's your sine, cosine, and tangent. So the moment that I see this right triangle, I'm like, ooh, I wonder if it's one of the tools that I could use. And so which tool is going to help you find the hypotenuse here? Which tool is going to help you find the hypotenuse here? Yeah, it's going to be the Pythagorean theorem in this case. The reason why it's the Pythagorean theorem is because look at your Pythagorean theorem. Your Pythagorean theorem says leg squared, which is 4 squared, plus leg squared, which is 3 squared, equals to your hypotenuse squared. You see how that equation only has one unknown? And for trig, in order for us to find the hypotenuse, I would need to know one of those angles, and I don't know either angle. Does that make sense? Go ahead and solve this for me really quick. Go ahead and solve this for me real quick. While you do that, I'm going to look at how you guys are doing with this. Okay, I've got a couple people. Awesome work. You are writing it all on there. Okay. I think some of you might be writing on paper. Is that right? Nope. I've got nice work from you. Okay. And then now I want you to solve it. So solve it with me. What's 4 squared? The more you do on your own without me, the more you have confidence to build on your own. So whenever I give you time to work on something, do it. Don't wait for me. Trust me. Trust me on this. This is like one of those things that you want to do on your own. Okay. So what is 4 squared? Yeah, it's 16. What's 3 squared? It's 9. What's 16 plus 9? Very good. So what squared, what number when I square it gives me 25? Very good. Technically, it's plus or minus 5, but we're going to cross out that negative because right now, as you know, triangles cannot have negative lengths. But guess what? Next year they do. So now that my hypotenuse is known, now can you find sine and cosine? So go ahead and fill this out. Very good. Nice work. Nice work. Yeah, some of you need to make sure that this work gets captured, right? All right. So fill out sine and cosine. Fill out sine and cosine. Very nice work. Okay, fill it out. Okay, what do you guys have? Let's see. What did you guys get for sine of A? What did you get for sine of A? Very good. So sine, remember sine is so that's opposite over hypotenuse. So you should have gotten 3/5. Okay. Give yourself another 2 points if you got 3/5. So cosine, what did you guys get for cosine A? Cosine of A, what did you get? Someone said 4/5. If you got 4/5, that's correct. So give yourself another 2 points. Oh, you can leave it as 4/5. All right, what did you guys get for sine of B? Sine of B. Now remember, since you changed angles, your brain has to change perspectives on who is opposite and who is adjacent, right? Yes, it's 4/5. And cosine of B? Cosine of B is 3/5. Very good. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Okay, so this one down here, it's the same thing. They gave you sine of B. They gave you sine of B. So what did we do first? What was the very first thing that we did when we were figuring out this problem? What's the very first thing that we did when we were figuring out this problem? Yeah, we drew the triangle. So let's make some directions over here so that we feel comfortable. Number 1, draw triangle. Number 2, then what did we do? Then what did we do? After we drew the triangle, what did we do next? Yeah, we actually labeled your triangle. So that's what I say, label. That means we took our 3 and our 4 and we put it on the correct spot. Oh yes, we also labeled it with A, B, and C. Very good. Yeah, so someone just told me for the next triangle, we're missing one of the sides and they mentioned which side we're missing. Exactly. Okay. And then from here, we either use the Pythagorean theorem or the trig ratio to find the rest of the information. I'm going to tell you right now, the part that people mess up on is they're like, I don't need to draw my triangle. I could do this work in my head, which I think I can do this work in my head. But because you're still learning how to do this, you should be drawing a picture. I almost expect it. Okay. Because that's going to help you understand who's opposite, who's adjacent, who's hypotenuse, and so on and so forth. Okay, so I'm going to show you another problem. So look at this one. Is this going to be any different? Exactly. No, this is not going to be any different, Miss Johnson. I'm still going to have to draw the triangle and then label the triangle and then use the Pythagorean theorem and trig to find the rest of the stuff. So very, very good. Have a great. Let me see.